We have to move along. We're going to have a little bit of fun with these gentlemen. We have Konica Minolta represented, we have Toshiba represented, we have Epson represented, we have Sharp represented, and we have HP represented. I think all of you know all of these folks, except maybe Mike, who's new to the industry. So Mike, welcome again.
Thank you.
And with that, we're going to start with a kind of, I think, a simple question. So, because I want to make it a little bit more personal as well as business related. So I'm going to start with Larry.
Uh-oh.
So all of you, and I'll preface my question with, all of you have a very, very, very difficult job. And I compliment all of you because it's difficult sometimes to come out of a meeting that's really intense about, hey, you know what, I want you to add 25,000 more machines to your quota. But we're not selling machines, we're selling systems, right? So it's that competition, within your own organization sometimes. What is the most favorite thing that you do on a daily basis as the CEO in a very complex market? What's your favorite thing?
So my favorite thing is chocolate-covered strawberries. No, it's, by the way, the challenge of it all. It really is. I mean, it sounds trite and all that stuff, but you never know what's going to hit you. And every day there's something new that you didn't plan on that's going to come out and hit you right square in the face and give you like a reality pie. And that's kind of the challenge of it. I love that. I think we're all kind of, to be in this position, you almost have to be an adrenaline junkie of some sort, and that's what really gets you going. So, I mean, it's kind of a dichotomy. It's a challenge, and sometimes it's not a good challenge. Sometimes it's a great challenge, but it's just that unknown challenge that's going to hit you that is kind of really the fun part of the job.
Okay, I like the chocolate-covered strawberries. That's a good answer. Mark, how about you?
Well, mine's Diet Coke.
Yeah, okay. As we all know.
As we all know.
Yeah.
Probably for me, the best thing is to talk with people outside the organization, particularly customers. I think it's really nice to sometimes you get so insulated within your own company. It's good to have a reset by talking to customers, particularly dealers outside, and get an external perspective. And it takes you out of the moment.
I like that. Mike,
By the way, we switched to Dr. Pepper. Since you're not there anymore, we have Dr. Pepper in the office, so.
All right, so I'm going to go back to Mike, then I'm going to come back to Mike.
Sure, yeah, the only thing I would add, so very similar, I think one of the things I love working with Sam Marigo, who unfortunately couldn't be here, is he describes himself as a break-fix person. That's his first instinct. I'm the same way. So love going into the lion's den, love the unplanned events, but the only thing I would add is really working with a team of people who are on the same frequency as you, who think like you, who act like you. And again, at the end of the day, it's all about the customer. And I would agree. I think we're all a little bit adrenaline junkies.
I like that. I think you're all adrenaline junkies somehow, but that's a good comment. I like it. How about you, Mike?
You feel like you're going, after a while it comes to the same thing, but I think, for me, I view everything in business like sports. I always look at it like it is a competition, right? But when you play fair and square, you can kind of all be friends after the game, I always say. But the team we put together, right? Working with your team to solve those problems, we're kind of one of the smaller vendors, so we're the underdogs, and when our team gets together and actually puts something together, that's the fun for me, right?
Yeah.
When we accomplish something that we didn't think was doable. And so that's, there always seems to be a new problem, as Larry was saying, but, getting everyone together, we got a great group in our organization, and when we win, it's kind of like this big, you almost feel like you won the Super Bowl, so that's kind of fun.
I like that. By the way, Melanie, I did pass on the don't.
You did.
Yeah, I did that for you. So, anyway, how about you?
Well, for me, it's I've been at HP. This is like 35 years for me at HP. I don't know everybody in the room, but sometimes we're insulated. I've been in a number of roles at HP, but what's been unique for us, I think, have been in this channel, probably maybe younger in the channel than some of the competitors here. We were sometimes above the fray, it felt like.
Mm-hmm.
And so now working with these partners in the local markets, and I'm out of Boston, so when I worked with the partners in that local market, just having wins with them and seeing them succeed in a local business that's a family business, it's not something we experience at HP all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Or I've experienced in my career at HP, so that's really special. I like to see that in all the markets of the country.
By the way, nobody noticed you were from Boston.
Hey, can I ask a question? John, why did you look at me when you said, oh, well, I'm younger than some people in the industry? Really?
All right, so, are the supply chain issues over? I'll start with you, Larry.
No.
No?
No.
Okay, all right.
Getting better. It's like Mike talked about. And but the one thing that does keep me awake at night is what's going on in China, right? Because we still get, we've all moved manufacturing facilities to elsewhere in the world, or it diversified as far as that goes. But a lot of components still come from China, and that keeps me up at night.
Okay, so I'm not gonna ask you for a date, but it's not over.
No.
Better, not
It's
over.
better.
All right, Mark, how do you feel about that?
For us, it depends on the sector. So on the printing side, we're pretty much through the woods. I can't say we're 100% out because of the things Larry mentioned. We still have some back orders in our projector and some of our other businesses.
Mhm.
And it depends really down to which chip is in the product
Mhm.
itself. So each sector is slightly different.
Mike?
I said the other day, I don't see us out of the woods for a little while. It's certainly better, and I think there's two elements, like I said the other day. The logistical part, I think, is a lot better.
Mhm.
The chips, as Larry said, China, you wake up and same thing. We all have a different view. Some people are watching what's going on in China from a geopolitical aspect, and we're looking at it like, is that factory going to shut down? So, we're always nervous that could quickly escalate.
Come back.
And so that still is a problem. And like I said the other day, a lot of the very basic chips are still in tight supply, and that's going to continue. And it's just not going to recover quickly.
Mike?
Yeah, I'd say the other piece is around the supply chain. So there's a reference to container costs. So in the good news, you can argue if we're in a recession or not, but with the decrease in demand in consumer products, so there's less container space, so we're not fighting for that, right? So there's a lot more capacity in the supply chain. So even though we're trying to catch up with the orders and our finished goods backlog, but the good news is on the supply chain, costs are much, much lower, not fighting for container space as much. So there's some silver linings in there right now.
Yeah, obviously never seen anything like it in the past year. It's been, I couldn't even imagine that we'd be where we were through the summer. And fortunately, through the fall, we recovered quite a bit. We made some changes actually too. One of them was, we removed PageWide from our lineup just so we could have fewer SKUs to focus on, make sure our components go with the right product. So, we just introduced a new line coming out of the end of that, brand new A3 line just introduced. So, we feel good about where we're at. We think in the next quarter, we'll go to a big year.
So I want to go back to a little bit to the changing landscape. So when I look at the marketplace 5 years ago or 10 years ago, there was a consistent pattern of who's in tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. I have the feeling that we're in the midst of something. So would you like to offer an opinion on that? Again, I'll start with Larry.
Yeah, it's interesting. So Mike's company and my company, we've always been the tier 2 players. And over the last 2 years, you've seen a number of the tier 1 players come down in share, and the tier 2 players come up in share very dramatically. And there is a real blending of the tier 1 and tier 2 players, right? So it's going to create some interesting economic situations for some of the higher tier players. Just because you have to have manufacturing scale, right? And if you lose that scale, that creates some issues. I would say the only company that I've seen is pretty consistent at the top is Canon. I hate to say nice things about my competitors, but they've pretty much stayed at the top without too much loss of share. But everybody else, it's been up, down, and the little guys are catching up to the big guys. So I think we're almost homogeneous now.
So I'd like to add maybe an et cetera to the question, or an additional comment question. So Mark, along the lines of shifting tier 1, tier 2, and I love your answer because you got so many things involved in that, right? Product line, IT, adjacent markets, and then you have the A3, A4 battle or whatever. So Epson is one of those companies that just, I think, kind of jumped out. You were there and you were doing your things, and all of a sudden you look at the numbers and you're rocking. So where do you see Epson in that question?
Yeah, so obviously we have a very different perspective. So if you take back and look at Epson in the whole, we're one of the largest printing companies in the world. So within our space that we've competed in all these decades, Epson's never been a big player. But if you look at our consumer business, we sell $1 million fabric printers. We're heavy into label printing, point of sales, #1 in the US at point of sale printers. So we're a very holistic printing company. It's all about our core technology. So for us, this is the last untapped market that's in a very, very large size. So obviously our goal is to make all of them lose market share and give it to us in the next few years. So we're about growing our overall manufacturing, printing, whether it be in the office, at the home, or in the back of the warehouse, and go after that. So, but I do agree with Larry, the landscape is changing as he described, but our goal is to come in and skim a little bit off of everybody.
So Mike, I'll go to you and then I'll go to you, Mike.
Yeah, so, I would agree with Larry. I think, we would joke all the time with the little kids, little engines who could. I think and certainly, we've doubled our share. I don't have a voice anymore, I apologize. But we doubled our share in the last 4 years. And if I look at the dealer channel, knowing our size of our direct operations and the people who are ahead of us in market share, I would argue we're probably number 2 in the dealer channel right now. Because we have, 80-something% of our business goes through the dealer channel, and we're so close to the others who are 60-70% that go through direct.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that, we're making headway. Now the next part for us is very similar, is how do we expand the breadth, how do we get more products, and how do we help our dealers, expand into new areas.
Excellent. So Mike, how about you? Go back to Konica.
Yeah, so I would add digital technology is just level the playing field, right? So between the tier one. So that has opened the door with a lot more opportunity, and where we can create additional value propositions complementary to our equipment. And I would say, look at the automotive industry, right, before Tesla came about. So when everyone heard Elon Musk was going to create an automotive company, what is this guy doing? You knew who the tier one players were, and now look where we are now. So we focused on end user experience, digital technology, et cetera. So I think with the advancement in technology, it's just completely level the playing field, and frankly, presents all of us a huge opportunity to go after this tier one players.
Interesting. You threw in digital again, right? Which we're living and breathing every minute, right? So that's good. So
yeah, similar for us. Someone called us the 10,000-pound gorilla. I forget who that was earlier.
Yeah.
I think it was you, but
yeah.
So it's been a long time coming for us that we've got the second generation coming out of the Samsung acquisition many years ago, and it's been a while coming. Frankly, it was delayed given some of the COVID issues and things like that. So we're excited. The BLI testing's been fantastic. I think we're just chosen A3 line of the year for 2023 by them with the initial testing. So it's a big year for us. I'll tell you, we've changed our focus. We had a CEO change in the past 4 or 5 years. That changed our focus into this channel a little bit, but our commitment into the managed business has been strong, and we separated that from our transactional business. And so we like what we see, and we're looking forward to this year.
So I'm going to ask you a little harder question, maybe a little bit more controversial, but everything I hear about HP is they just don't get it.
Yeah,
they just don't get it. So how do you respond?
I had a holiday dinner with a partner who we had that conversation. First off, I want to say this. For all of you that answer on your insurance question, I have 2 drinks a week. Based on what I heard this morning, a number of people are going to have to go back and edit. Don't check that box.
Yeah.
Anyway, not to deflect. But, it's a little bit of, when we moved into that channel, like I said, I've been with HP for a long time, but it always bothered me that we were not in this channel. I've sold PCs, print, I've done a number of things at HP. But it always bothered me that we were not in this channel. I could never understand why. But when we split the company and went to HP Inc., I think that helped focus. We made the acquisition from Poly this year. We're very focused on the hybrid work environment, and we're in this channel. We're committed to it. We've told partners, but we don't have the history, we don't have the history, the reputation, or the relationships that some of our competitors do.
Does it bother you that people say that? You just don't get it?
No, I started this company when Bill and Dave were alive, and I will tell you, it's just something. The people that work at HP, I think we believe that we are going to bring great solutions and great products and services to this channel and to our customers. And so there's been a lot of partners in the U.S. that have agreed with that and come on board. Mm-hmm. And we are probably, I will say, the most difficult to deal with of anybody who are on stage, but locally we're working through that, account by account, partner by partner. and figuring it out, specifically around, there's been all this talk about the data sharing this year and all that. We're working through that. We're figuring it out with each partner and figuring out which partners want to do business with us and who we want to do business with as well. So
You heard it, they're committed to it, so let's hope if there's anything we can all do to help you do that, let us know. I'd like to come back to digital. So obviously one of the things that I've been committed to for the last 15 years of my career or so has been some kind of transformation. And whether it be ERP or whatever, Edge, whatever you want to talk about, what's inclusive, right? But you're new to Konica Minolta, and last time we had a chance to speak over the phone, I was really impressed with your ability to capture your past experience and translate it into this. What's been the biggest challenge for you in taking that past experience and doing whatever it is you need to do in digital with your new job?
Yeah, so the biggest thing is, so traditionally corporate IT, our reputation was back office, was ERP. And if you look at the history, we started in the back office of finance systems, moved upstream to operations, started leaking over to manufacturing. And now where digital technology is and how you build new software products, there's really no clear line of what you offer externally to your customers and then what you focus internally. And that was the evolution from the CIO title to the Chief Digital Officer title. So I would say it's really just trying to communicate and influence people that I'm not a back office person based on past experiences. And really, I've been butting my head into a lot of conversations on increasing our customer value proposition. How do we help our dealers grow, which is gonna help us grow? And so I think people are starting to understand that. So it's not about the title, it's about your experience, your skills, and your competencies. It's just trying to take full advantage of that. So, the great news is people who know Sam, he's incredibly open-minded, he's super sharp, he gets things like that. And so there's not a lot of influencing I have to do. So there actually haven't been a lot of challenges since I started at Konica Minolta. It's been very rapid.
I like that. I know you're fraught with challenges. You just have to be, but you're dealing with it. Right?
Yeah, I mean, so I'll tell you a funny story. So when I started, you do one-on-ones with your executive leadership team. And of course, everyone very stylistically, either nicely or not so nicely, will tell you that we have challenges in the IT group in Konica Minolta. And I'll say, well, what are some examples? And they'll say, well, we have 3 RPs, that's too many. And I was like, that's awesome. And I was like, let me tell you the business I came from, the carrier, my refrigeration business. I had 45 ERPs globally, so $4 billion business. I was like, so you're actually in really good shape. So you don't know what you don't know, and I understand that. You look at it from the lens of your company, but sometimes it helps to get additional information. So I think it's also just educating people of, we're actually in a really good spot. And so the basic blocking and tackling that we have to do actually is not that bad, which gives us the opportunity, and again, what I call the high value opportunities to help our customers.
So everything's relative. You went from 4 or 5 to 3. That's good. All right. So question for all of you actually, and I'm going to open it up for everybody else. But what's the one question that a dealer asks you that just makes you go, what? Larry?
How come you can't sell your parts and supplies at the same price Kate does? I'm just kidding.
Hilarious. Okay.
The one we get all the time is because my distribution is on a wholesale basis in units. It's about 50% direct and 50% dealer, right? And every time you talk to the dealer, well, you want to give me your branch? I'm sure they're doing terrible, so you want to give me your branch? And I go, well, nah, we're going to keep them right now. They're doing okay. I mean, but you just always, it's that one question you always get all the time. And I respect them asking the question, but unless it's in a marketplace that is really doesn't make any sense to be in there, our branches are doing pretty good. So that would be the one question.
All right, so dealers, I'd avoid that for a while.
It's okay to ask. It's okay to ask, but that's.
All right, so Mark, how about you?
Probably the most interesting one is trying to explain our kind of business model to dealers, particularly with low service and reliability. So we actually have had dealers say, I don't want to pick up your product because it reduces the amount of service required on it. To which I say, they still need service.
Yeah.
We're just doing it less. Well, it's kind of a weird question.
All right, well, I'd like to come back to that one later because there are an awful lot of questions behind that answer, right? Mike, how about you?
Well, it's funny because Larry did steal my answer. That is the number one.
It's scaring me that you and I are starting to think alike.
Yeah, I don't know who's got the issue.
I'm a little nervous.
But that is by far the number one question that I get. Because obviously some competitors sold some branches,
Right.
And like as soon as one competitor sells a branch, the phone starts ringing. Hey, you ready to sell? You want to sell this? You want to sell that?
Yeah.
So that is probably the number one. I guess the second, just so I can give a different answer, is expansion of the product line.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the categories that we're not in.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's I think anyone who's sharp understands we're not in higher end production.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's probably the number one where they say, can you get one out next year? And I'm like, yeah, let's go get doing that right now. It takes years to do that. So that's probably the one where we give the same answer over and over, and we keep getting it, right? So, we're not there.
Yeah, for us, it's a challenge around a lot of the silos, PC business, large format. How can I get not off? How can I can't get authorized for the high-end large format line? How can I get these lines? So, we've built out a commitment around the managed products to this channel around print, but it is a challenge sometimes with the silos that we face often.
It's not the data issue?
We've moved past that with a lot of partners. So, we modified what we were asking for in certain cases and done some things. So, no, most of that's in the rear view. I'm sure the partners maybe don't feel that way, but if you don't feel that way, talk to me, talk to our team. We'll figure it out with you.
Okay. All right, so I'd like to turn it over to the audience for some questions. So, hands? Sean? Wait for a mic.
I'll wait for Mike.
Yeah, we got 3 of them, so it's all good.
Thanks, Hero. This question's for John. Yeah, I've been working with HP for over 30 years. I was part of the Agilent HP. I was on the Agilent side, of recruiting and finding people. And then when we merged together, I helped as far as deciding who's duplicated and who we need to get rid of. With that being said, one of the things I see over and over again with HP, it seems like decisions are made from the top without getting the responses from the dealer community. It doesn't seem to trickle up. I mean, there's some, now that we work with them and we have a DCA and we're getting information from you guys in the SDS program, which is amazing. Is there a plan to change that or something? Have you thought about how you can get more information or feedback from the dealer community that you can actually implement instead of ignore?
Yeah, and you saw Tammy earlier this week. I worked for Tammy, and I think she's done a great job elevating and escalating a lot of the things that come up. It's a challenge. There is no question, as I mentioned. The CMPS business still, we call it the CMPS channel, MPS business for us. It's been growing. I will tell you, the managed piece is growing. It's getting more attention, especially the A4 managed piece. We carved out the A4 managed line years ago, and when we first carved it out, it was really just another label on the same printer that we sold transactionally. But we've differentiated that, continued to differentiate it, and we're going to make a major shift here in March, differentiating that line. Something we've never done before. There's elements of that machine that we've never done before that are going to come to this channel. So as that business has grown, it's now starting to get the recognition and the needs we need. And we've got some new leadership that's come in here recently that's recognizing that. We've done some work with a couple partners where we made changes to the way we approach the business, but it's still a challenge. I'm not going to tell you it's not. We're still a big company. The PC business just went to #1. We're all happy about that, but that doesn't really influence what we do here. So, those kinds of challenges are there, but we're still committed as your team to work through it. So, stick with us on that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. Microphone over there, please. That's, I think that's the video in covert clothing. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Is he even allowed to ask?
No, can you ask a question?
Yeah, he's not allowed.
Yeah, you're not allowed.
I'm retired.
That's not a question.
Over the next 5 years, how do you see A3 and A4? Do you see that percentage decreasing, and by how much?
All right, so Mark, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, that's been an interesting thing. We are, of course, we're a A4 and an A3 product line, we have a full range of products. And I would tell you, I've started to already see it change, at least within our business. So we have quickly seen in the last year, smaller centralized copiers and more desktops going with it. So I would tell you the attachment rates of desktops to A3 console has dramatically risen in the last 12 months for us, particularly with the business models in terms of we have EcoTank and some different type of fulfillment models. So we've already seen that changing, and my expectation is in the next 3, 4, 5 years as leases come up, my expectation will continue to go that way. So it's one of the reasons we're super excited about the US market and NPS in the US.
Mike, want to jump in on that, or?
Yeah, I would agree. I think that, I think COVID and the supply chain issues slowed down that process. Obviously, chips were expensive. If you have a $600 printer and the chips went from costing $10 in that machine to costing $100, I think people said not worth doing. And so it extended the life of a lot of contracts with A3. But I think the long-term trend is going to be more and more A4, and that's one of the reasons why we're building out our A4 line, to compete more effectively in the future.
Larry?
Yeah, same answers to everybody else. One thing, manufacturers have to look at it. They just can't look at it regionally like the United States. And you'll see with the rest of the world, A4 is much bigger in the rest of the world than what it is here. So manufacturers have to look at it that way. So evolutionary, it's going to be that way anyway. The second thing I do see is that I think you're going to see more robust type A4 products as opposed to the A3. And by robust, I mean with more capabilities on it, things of that nature. So one of the things we kind of got lucky on as a manufacturer, so we were never in the A4 space, and we figured, okay, we've got to be in A4. And so we took an A3 engine and put it in A4 chassis basically, and the thing is a tank. I mean, and it worked, and it's been unbelievably successful for us. So it's got a lower CPC kind of. I'm not trying to sell you on our product, I'm just saying what's happening in the market with us. And we go, boy, did we get lucky on that. We kind of hit a neat little sweet spot with it. And that's, I think you're going to see to that end more, robust, more reliable A4 products than what you've had in the past.
Mike, want to add?
Unfortunately, I don't have a lot to add, so I'll just defer and agree with these, the gentlemen here.
Well, the numbers bear it out. We watch them closely. The A3 business has been, each quarter slowly small percentages down. So add up quarter after quarter. The A4 business is central for HP, obviously. We have a legacy install base, that we are looking to capture. So I think I mentioned we've got some major announcements coming this year. So we see it as central to success in this channel for sure.
Especially in 23.
Yeah, the key for us is making it profitable for our partners. That's the key. So we're making changes to make that happen this year.
Awesome.
Hey, can I just make one statement though?
Please.
I don't want people to get the idea that A3 is dead. I mean, there is still a lot of A3 products being sold out there and a great application for them, and will continue to be so. But A3 is not dead, but you're going to see a higher propensity towards A4 products, but that's it.
Yeah, one of the things that happened with us is that partners are saying, hey, you need to promote 80, 90 pages a minute in A3. So I agree. We expect the business in A3 to continue to grow, but that's one of the reasons we didn't continue to push into those higher ends.
Well, it's still transformative, right?
Yeah.
Any other questions? Because I could talk to these guys forever. Yes?
Other than A3 and A4, other products that you see that are going to be coming to market that you feel is going to really make a difference?
Oh, too late now. What I was asking is, other than A3 and A4, what other products do you feel are going to make a difference in the future? We talked about labels yesterday. It was interesting to see that there's smaller label machines as well as larger. Where does this all fit in, and where do you see your organizations going in the next few years with all of production, industrial print, so forth and so on?
Mike, well, I can answer a little bit. I think that it depends on what you're trying to do with your business. If a lot of the categories that we talk about, you have to hire new people, you have to go into new segments, you have to do different things. And so you're effectively creating a new business. Where we see it is for our business is really that hardware that I talked about the other day. Having other technologies. So if you can talk about M&S, you can talk about contracts, you can talk about subscriptions. You want to put other pieces around it, right? And so we're really focused on collaboration. It's all the different ways you can share information. We want to have a product, we want to protect the information, and we want to secure the information. So that's where, kind of where we see the business going. There's other categories, obviously sharp sells. but they're different businesses. And so, you'd have to make a conscious decision to hire different people, to talk to different people, and, we feel that the best opportunities within existing customers.
Larry?
Yeah, so it's, our business is kind of similar to what Mark's is at Epson. So we have a very robust thermal business also, so barcode printers, POS printers, things of that nature. And by the way, they were a godsend during the COVID because e-commerce exploded, right? And that was brilliant for our business. And so I think people overlook is that, and to your point about wrapping things together, so with our thermal business, you can go in and wrap it. You can do things in the thermal business that have never been done before, like MPS on a thermal basis. So different ways of approaching a problem that is unique that other more legacy companies don't do, right? And so that's what we're doing. We're also introducing a new product in about 2 months, which is, I hate to use the word revolutionary in the thermal space, but it is taking a problem and solving it that is going to be unique in that area and is going to create a huge amount of aftermarket revenue. So it's, but that's what we do. So we're not just a concrete company, right? We're a big thermal, robust thermal business also. Very similar to Mark's.
So we sell, like I mentioned, a whole variety from consumer products up to $1 million fabric printers. And it'd be shocking to you to know the applications behind all those machines. But I'll just give you a quick, just open the kimono real quick. The big thing going on in A4 at Epson is moving to Ecotank, large capacity ink products out the door. Good for consumers, good for dealers, easier supply fulfillment. That business, we actually, depending upon the week, in the last 2 weeks, we've actually passed HP in consumer printing with that product. In wide format, you're going to see a whole new slew of technology coming out of wide format. Probably your school, your church, your customers, or do some sign printing and stuff inside. The industrial side of wide format is exploding right now. Good chance if you picked out wallpaper for your house, it was possibly printed on an Epson printer. And I will go with Larry, the label business is a good business for dealers to be in if you're servicing any type of hospital or anything like that. Just check your front door and see how many labels come in your front door every day.
Yeah.
Before I forget, I want to make sure that I share with you just how honored we are that all of you are up here on the stage and sharing the information that you're sharing. Some of you have been here since before we opened the doors, and I really appreciate the fact that you guys really came out, been involved. So that being said, you looked at those were you who were here from the beginning. I'm kind of curious how you feel about what we did here at ECS 23. So a little bit of a plug. If it is a plug, if it's not, don't say it. Okay. So Larry, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so I first learned about ECS and when you did the dinner in Coronado, I thought, this is a brilliant idea, right? Because, this is a venue where the manufacturers, we can talk openly, about what we're doing and how we're doing to help, our dealer customers figure out new business ventures that they can go into. And I think it's a brilliant idea. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to change, by the way, my title after this cybersecurity thing. I'm not going to be president CEO anymore. I'm getting rid of that lady. But anyway, so but it's even from the manufacturer side, we learn a ton of information. It's invaluable. So yeah, kudos to you for putting this on, and for everybody that supports it. By the way, great job.
Thank you. Appreciate that. How about you, Mike? You came from the beginning. You're still here, and you got it.
Less a voice, but yes.
Yeah.
I do think this is great. I mean, when you said you're going to start this up again, I said we're all in. Mainly because there is so much transition, right? So you get all different opinions on different topics here, and I think it's important that the dealer community hears what's out there, right? Sometimes they'll pick Sharp, sometimes they'll pick Epson, sometimes they'll pick Toshiba. They're not picking HP. But
Wow.
I had to go there.
I give it an 8.
But I think it's important that we all share what we're thinking, because the dealers do have a lot of decisions to make, right? Where they want to take their business, how they want to go forward, and it's important to hear not only from what I would call traditional manufacturers, but some of the other people who are here talking about M&S or IT or AI, and I think it's the more information we share, the better it's going to be for the community. And even if, like I said the first day when I spoke, or the second day, if you don't end up, you go in a different direction, but it makes you stronger, that's good for us, right? A good, strong dealer community is good for all of us. then we just have to support you with our products. But, so getting into these other areas and learning about them, I think is very valuable. So I like the format and hearing a little bit about kind of the core business and then some more about some other areas.
Good, thank you. Were you here from the beginning?
Yep.
Okay, so.
Yeah, and Tammy was here, I know she
Yeah.
had to leave, but our entire team from the US was here this week. You know, for us, it's, you know, we're looking to pick up you talked about picking up one thing. Anytime we can spend time with this many channel partners and competitors really, and just understand the dynamics and what the challenges are, it's good for HP, good for us to internalize that.
I like that answer. You got a good team here, and so do you, so I appreciate that. Mark?
Not a whole lot to add. This is just a great venue. I think anytime the community can come together, dealers, OEMs, the whole ecosystem, I think is very valuable. And I think the unique perspective of this meeting versus some of the other dealer councils is very unique and admirable. We really like it.
Thank you.
Yeah, the only thing I would add is, you know, I think about, if I had to visit each and every one of our dealers without this conference, how many planes I'd have to get on, how much it would cost. So the ability just to meet and touch so many people, and then obviously, you know, meet others as well and other OEMs, I mean, it's invaluable. You know, we're all relationship based, we're all relationship focused. I would argue that's why we have the jobs we have. And, you know, I know the younger generations are more focused on virtual meetings and interactions, and I think we're all in agreement that nothing can replace this face-to-face type communications just to continue to build relationships. So it's been awesome. It's been absolutely awesome.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Reese.
Just as a closing comment, just so y'all understand this is Mike's way of raising our sponsorship fees for this year.
Well, I first have to ask, are you willing to come back? Anyway, I have one, does anybody have, yes, Bob?
How do you all maintain a level playing field between direct mega dealers and the independent dealer, and assure the independent dealer that they truly are playing on a level playing field?
Good question.
Well, I mean, we do it a couple different ways. You know, first, if you're a sharp dealer, you know I publish every month during supply chain. I publish exactly how many units we shipped versus 2019, so that every dealer, whether you're my largest dealer or my smallest dealer, you can see, did you get your fair share, right? So you have a very easy measurement. The other is we see it every day. You know, we lose business in our directs all the time to dealers. We price things the same policy. You know, if an incumbent is a sharp dealer and our direct branch, it's an open bid, and our direct branch wants to bid it, they don't get the same price as the incumbent, they get a higher price. You know, we make sure that we keep that loyalty in place. And I think, you know, there's enough of a mix here where you have some small dealers here that will tell you they beat big dealers, you know, mega dealers in deals. So I think, you know, it's proof in the pudding. I mean, you can say it. We try to publish and share as much as we can so that there's measurable things, but I think it's really, if you don't do it, they're gonna notice really quick. If they keep losing deals to the mega dealers or the bigger dealer, and you're a smaller dealer, you're gonna say, clearly I'm not getting treated the same way. And I think that's kind of proof in the pudding type strategy.
Larry?
Yeah, it's the exact same answer, really. And it's just, it's business ethics and just making sure you do the right thing. I mean, it's as simple as that. Our branches have to sell our product, so we don't have to do a lot to convince them to do that. They're signed on, just the fact that they're our employees. The other thing is we have to do is that our branch operations realizes dealers are customers, right? Just like they're selling to an end user customer, they realize our dealer community are customers also, and what they do could have an adverse effect on our customers. And we want to, like everybody here, we strive to be as customer centric as we possibly can, and that is what we try to achieve every day. And we're not going to do the things that are going to jeopardize that customer relationship we have. And so if there is ever an issue with any of our branch and dealer situation, it gets handled immediately. And we will not let it fester. And I'm just kind of patting ourselves on the back. I think of the manufacturers, if not the best reputation for dealer branch relationships, it's one of the best. And it's because we've had that philosophy it's not a new philosophy, we've had it for years and years and years. And So we do it. On the mega dealer side we don't really have many mega dealers on our side. We're more, we've got big dealers, but not the mega dealers out there, and we don't really have to worry about that issue.
And we're recruiting dealers, so.
Well, there you go. All right, so there's that answer.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got that in. That's good. So, Mike, are you comfortable to offer an opinion?
No, nothing to say.
Okay, then you don't have the right.
Well, I was actually.
Yeah, they got direct sales people.
Yeah,
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do.
We are one of your business biggest customers, so I do have to talk to you about a couple issues out there.
A number of you are actually.
You have to have an opinion on this.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's, as I mentioned, for years, we weren't even in the channel, so the direct business kind of ran on its own. But I will tell you, so we manage it, as we talked about with pricing, with escalations. We have escalations if there's ever an opportunity where we have both partners and direct in the account. But candidly, I will tell you, our direct team has been surprised that they have lost a number of deals to this channel. And lost really isn't the right way to look at it, but they've competed head to head. The customer made the decision, and we've actually, in a few cases, had the customer come to both the channel partner and HP and say, "Hey, they're not bidding HP. You're bidding direct. We don't want either one. We want the partner to bid HP," and we've done that. So we've seen some very, very large opportunities move to the channel, and so it's opened a lot of eyes at HP. I can tell you that.
Awesome. All right, we're coming down on the end of the hour. So one last question from the audience. Is that Chip?
Me.
All right.
I have a question for you.
All right, time. We're gonna end.
Brace for it.
Yeah, here we go.
Sounds like a loaded one.
Being at the supply chain, blame the chips that you haven't been able to get for a while. Now the chips have gone from $5 to $100. What are you guys doing to circumvent that problem?
Okay. Want to elaborate a little bit?
Well,
Did you get that?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's
hard to get. Now they're expensive.
Yeah.
And we're probably going to pay $100 a chip, but the shortage part of it, what are we doing to eliminate that situation?
Okay, so Larry, you want to jump on that one?
Yeah, you just diversify. So Japanese manufacturers have tended, and this is just a generalization, have not been very good at diversifying their suppliers, their sub-suppliers, component suppliers. And I think what you've seen throughout this process is, I know my company's done that, and I'm assuming everybody else's company's done that, is they diversified who they choose as their component partners. And so that has helped us a lot, and we've had it probably not as bad as some of the other manufacturers out there, because we adopted really early that strategy. It also brings competitive bidding more into the process also. So, but there's always going to be supply and demand, and we can't control that. If there's more demand than there's supply, prices are going to go up, and that's just a fact of life. And God bless capitalism. I think it's the greatest system in the world. So, and that's what it is. So, but we try to mitigate as much as we possibly can.
So we've had to do the same. We've had to diversify our supply chain. We had moved to some single supply chains in certain areas that we kind of caught a little bit. That made for a rough summer. So, but it's not just the chip; it's also transportation and all the elements for other raw materials. Bringing product in from Mexico versus shipping it over from Europe or across the sea. So we've made a number of changes there to try to alleviate that going forward.
So one other thing, it's not a short term, but a midterm thing is, I think you're gonna see a lot of manufacturing. It's happening at Epson and other places, but out of China to different markets. So we're actually doing a lot of our manufacturing back to Japan and to some other countries in Asia, and also over to Mexico and other places, trying to get closer to the market.
I think one of the things you'll see though, you can change your supplier of a chip, but you gotta also change the board and you gotta change the firmware, right? So it's not, it's not like,
It's
hey,
not simplistic.
Yeah, let's just swap that sucker out and put a new one in. And I think that's the bigger challenge. So, we've been fortunate, obviously, we're owned by Foxconn, who has a lot of, resources. And so we've been able to keep up with it to some extent, right? But it's not like we can just pop it out and go, oh, we got the chip, just put a different one in. That changes everything about your product. And, I mentioned the other day when we took out wireless, and, I'm not technical as some maybe other people here, but, I said, oh yeah, we'll just pop out the wireless. So well, now we gotta change 2 other boards, we gotta change the firmware, we gotta change all these things about our product to do that. So it sounds easy, but it's not. So you do wanna have multiple suppliers, but when you have multiple suppliers, you gotta have multiple boards ready to go. And then you have to have firmware adjusted for both of those suppliers. And then you multiply that by all the chips, all the sensors, all the boards on the product, and you have very heavy code to run your product, and that makes it challenging. So, it's not a problem that we just need more chips, because we probably need more chips from the current suppliers and maybe one or two other suppliers, but it's complex.
I don't think he said we want more chips. We want more chips.
Yeah.
Put it up, Be here all week, folks.
Sorry, come on, go with me.
Be sure to tip the waiters and waitresses.
All right, so Mike, are you comfortable to respond to that?
I mean, the only thing I would just expand on that is with that, when you are diversifying your suppliers, when you're figuring out the impact to your existing products, it does present opportunities because technology is changing. So with that, you actually may get more features and functionality. We're actually evaluating that right now, that we would just pass through and to our customers.
All right, so we got 5 minutes left here. A final quick. Jim.
Yeah, so I have 2 questions. The first one is, Larry, you said you were talking about e-commerce, but in a different context. I was wondering, is that something that you as manufacturers are looking at for your own websites, potentially going nationwide with that? That's the first question. And the second part is towards Larry and Mike. Do you have any branches that you're currently looking to sell?
All right, come on, that's a 10.
Yeah, that's good. So to answer your e-commerce question, since you're one of my biggest customers, we are. In fact, one of the presenters here this week is a company that we're partnering with in our e-commerce solutions. So yeah, you're gonna be seeing that coming from us.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we actually have one. So we just launched our first e-commerce site. You can't buy MFPs yet because we all know the backlog and the inventory issue. So that will be coming. But yeah, we're already live. We're in production. We'll just see more products getting rolled out over time.
Okay, so again, we're coming up on the hour. Final question. We're in the first month of really a brand new year, right? So, and you hear a lot of talk recession, no recession, all of that stuff. I'll start with Larry. Are we gonna have a great year?
Well, yes, because recession, I do think, by the way, we're gonna have a recession, or we're in a recession, just because everybody's saying there's gonna be a recession. But to me, recession creates opportunity. And I think there is no better industry to take advantage of those type of economic downturns than we are. And my other comment with recession is that although this industry is not recession proof, it is recession resistant because of the way we transact businesses, right? So it's our products on leases, they come up in 36 to 48 months. The payment's already there. I mean, the worst they're gonna do is maybe downsize a little bit, but still it is always opportunity. I think, recessions aren't bad for our industry because it creates opportunity. I don't want to be in a consumer products part of it because that's not good, but ours is great.
All right, so I'm gonna start with you, then we'll pick it up.
Well, yeah, our fiscal year ends October 31st, so we're already into our first quarter, and we had, unfortunately, we had such a backlog. We did ship most of that, so we got off to a good start. As I mentioned, we just introduced a new line. We're introducing some changes in the A4 line coming, so we have a number of announcements coming this year that will directly impact, we think, our opportunity in this channel. So
The economy's
a big year. Well, that I don't know. I think the Wall Street Journal they say the number of times recession is mentioned directly leads to a recession. I don't know, it's in the statistics, but I'd say we're cautiously optimistic.
All right, good answer. Michael?
Yeah, I think it certainly is going to be at least a mild recession, if not, a deeper one. But same thing, I checked yesterday, and John Sheen will tell you, I live and die by our daily sales report. For the month, we're tracking 20% over 2019. So whatever's happening, it's not so bad. And we didn't really have back orders that we're trying to catch up on. It's just the business. And I think for our industry, though, it's a lot of what I talked about the other day. If there's a recession, and there are cutbacks in the customers, that's an opportunity to sell them more products because they want fewer vendors, right? They don't want to track 50 vendors coming in. They'd probably make some back office cuts if they're in a recession. And that's when you go in and say, I can do more for you. And as Larry said, you're already in there with the lease. It kind of got you for the next 4 years, right? So you can go in and say, I'm already here for the next 4 years. Why don't I take care of this? Why don't I take care of that? why don't I help you with other businesses? So I think, as Larry pointed out, it's an opportunity, not a negative, right? You have the one unique thing where you're in there already and you're kind of locked in for a couple of years. Take advantage of it.
So positive so far. Mark?
So for me, we're in the middle of our budget process right now. We are assuming a recession, and with that, we will have still have growth. So even despite a recession, we are predicting growth. We are watching our SG&A tightly, probably like everybody is watching closely, but we are forecasting growth. And if you look specifically for us within this industry, we're launching a new product line this year, so it should be a very, very good year for us within this channel.
Okay, Mark, you've worked for Japanese companies for a long time, as have I. How many times have you never had a budget that wasn't bigger than last year? Seriously.
Yeah, part of breathing.
Yeah.
So, Mike, are you comfortable with?
Yeah, I mean, so I obviously agree, and just upon a little bit on Mike was saying. So when times are tough, it puts bigger challenges on us, frankly, to get more creative. So how do we still offer customer value propositions? Should we be looking at our products differently? Big GE guy, big Jack Welch fan. I remember Jack Welch 1 or 2 in your industry, otherwise we'd divest him. And GE Lighting was struggling for years and years and years. Margins were getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Competition was growing, and he just gave it to him straight. You got to change. You got a year. Otherwise, I'm going to sell you. All of a sudden, they came out with a LED product like paper thin that you can roll out. All these new products were coming out. So I think in a way it also helps us so we don't get too comfortable, where we can really forces us to get a lot more creative than that we have also.
Well, you gentlemen have been absolutely fabulous. We're honored you're here on this stage. Everyone here is grateful that you give your time. So how about a round of applause for